Right, going up against Chatterfang. We've got some tough opponents today, but we've got some good tools. Kill spell, make our own tokens, stop them untapping. Some nice stuff. But they will be overwhelming us with their own tokens, so... And annoyingly, it's power 3, which means Elspeth won't be able to immediately kill the Chatterfang unless they give it some kind of power boost. So I really hope they go for a dual land here, or at least some kind of non-basic, so our Winter Moon does more work overall. Nice one, and they did. So they keep playing dual lands. Winter Moon's going to be really quite excellent here. Do we play it next turn? I wonder. Maybe. That's a tricky Surveil they've got, taking quite a while on that. What would be a tricky Surveil? I guess something that costs a lot. Let's get this out of the way. This is going to make them play differently now. They're probably going to prioritise basics if they have any. Valley Might Caller. Frog, Rabbit, Raccoon, Squirrel enters, put a counter on this. Okay. Interesting. I hope they're playing more non-basics. Okay, there's one. Squirrel puts a counter on there. Okay. So we want to get rid of the Chatterfang. Always a great feeling. Yeah, Monastery Mentor is absolutely bonkers in this deck. Because we have mostly non-creatures, so many of our things will trigger him. And creating extra 1/1s, I can't state how powerful that is. Like, in theory, there's a theory about virtual value, like how many scries equals a draw. 2 scries equals a draw, 3 scries equals a draw, or the equivalent value. So how many tokens equals 1 card? You know, it's if someone uses a kill spell on a token, they're essentially using a card on something that was never a card, which is really interesting. So you're actually gaining so much advantage by playing stuff that creates random tokens. Will they attack with that? Oh, the bait worked. Oh, that's lovely. Oh my goodness. Oh, that feels great, taking out a Chatterfang play like that. Using tokens to kill the token deck. Beautiful. Hello, my name's Josh, and welcome to the channel if you haven't been here before. I make a lot of Brawl or historic Brawl decks, as they used to be called, really. But yeah, take a look at a lot of the other videos on my channel because I do a lot of commanders that no one else touches. And there's definitely a unique aspect there. And especially a lot of these new Planeswalkers that have just been released in Bloomburrow. It's kind of a stealth release, really. They're not in the standard set. They're in the commander part of the Bloomburrow set, but you have to look to find them individually. So this is Elspeth's Son's Champion, which is a fantastic card, originally printed in Theros, the original Theros, many years ago. Must have been a decade by now. But this was powerful then, and I think it's still powerful now for a few reasons. It just does 2 of the things that Planeswalkers should do to be good, and that's it makes blockers, and it makes 3 blockers in this case, and it also protects itself by wiping out opponents' creatures with power 4 or greater. That is quite amazing. It's a board wipe on a Planeswalker, something you don't see very often, if at all. So she's really great at handling herself. And then the ultimate, which is just icing on the cake, you get an emblem, creatures you control, +2/+2 flying. There's a history of Elspeth's giving creatures flying, which is a bit weird because she's mono white. I guess the flavour is she's throwing them or something, but normally you'd associate flying with blue walkers, but yes, nonetheless. Also, just to note, this is the only art available for Elspeth's Son's Champion right now. Somebody asked me about the Jace artwork. It's just the animal critter versions at the moment. They'll probably add the original versions later, but this artwork's actually pretty cool. I do actually like it quite a lot. But does she stand up today? I think she really does, especially combined with a lot of the synergies you can see with Anointed Procession, which creates twice as many tokens if you have this out, and also Mondrak, which also gives you twice as many. So if you have these out with Elspeth, +1 creates 6 1/1s, which is pretty bonkers. Another way to synergize with Elspeth, which is really quite underplayed, is Cathar's Crusade. So whenever another creature comes in, you put a counter on each creature you control. So it's interesting that when you put 3 in at once, it actually triggers 3 times, because it doesn't say whenever 1 or more creatures. So if 3 creatures come in, the first one will come in and trigger and put a counter on everything, and then the second one and the third one, so you put 3 counters on everything ultimately, which is just really super powerful. And the rest of the deck is unusual because it cares about creature tokens, but there's not that many creatures in the deck. We have 15 here, but it is more white control, which is something I like to touch on, because a lot of mono white players probably go down the life gain route with Heliod and stuff like that, but I prefer going a bit bigger. So we can see that by the number of walkers we have in big drops. Ugin helps us kill anything. Contagion Engine is a really awesome new favorite tool I like, just to do a board wipe on your opponent's side of the field and proliferate, uptick our own walkers. Chimel gives us some incredible advantage. Chimel is kind of like having a planeswalker, to be perfectly honest. Eternal Wanderer, which is just another board wipe and creates creatures. Soon's Intervention, it does a lot of stuff. Instant speed's kind of wacky on this. You can blow stuff up, you can make a knight, you can see a card, gain 3 life. Sun Titan is just great to bring back a lot of the small things we have. And Farewell to clear the board. So that's the top end. This is the kind of stuff we're kind of headed towards to go for game-winning territory. And then you have the usual kind of wipes that we like to use, like Flowering of the White Tree, which makes all our creatures bigger. We're trying out In the Trenches, which is an anthem as well as an exile effect. And we also have some cheeky cards like the Battle of Bywater, which destroys all creatures power 3 or greater. Now this is great because it doesn't affect a lot of the cards in our deck, because a lot of the creatures in our deck are too small or tokeny for this to really matter. But even if they do, we get a food for each creature we control that's destroyed. So that is kind of game changing. You know, you can gain so much life back with this. And we've got a few other cheeky things as well. Winter Moon to stop greedy, color hungry decks untapping with more than 1 non-basic. And a Zenith Chronicler, whenever as player casts a multicolor spell, each other player draws a card, which is great in monocolor decks because we will never be able to cast a multicolor spell. Well, not conventionally anyway. But yeah, I hope you enjoy watching today's video. I like these throwback commanders. So far I've done this one, I've done Sorin Markov, Jace the Mind Sculptor, and it's nice actually because for once they've been released into the wild and they're not too overbearing depending on how you build them. I think my builds are quite strong, but that's the way I do it. But yeah, it's nice to not just have everything's a Rusco, and you know, sometimes you can have powerful things without being over the top. Fair power. And it's an interesting concept, isn't it? Because a lot of people play cards that just dominate, but then if they don't do that, then they're not having fun. But I think it's a lot more fun to win with balanced or even weak cards to some extent. So yeah, let's get into today's video. Don't forget to check out more of my videos, as I said before, which covers a lot of the older commanders. I've got over 500 videos now. So if you want to see a lot of the more classic stuff, going all the way back to Khans of Tarkir in this arena format. We don't have every commander. We're getting there. We're getting a lot more on there. But rather interestingly, I think over the past 2 or 3 years, that's where most of the commanders ever printed have been printed. So I did a little search the other day going back, and if you look at the last 5 years, for instance, there's hundreds more commanders than there were before that, because obviously commanders kicked off. It's a lot more popular now. So interestingly enough, you know, I think we've got over 1,000 commanders in Arena, which is really great. And a lot of them are the popular ones, that are contemporary ones that we all know and love. So that's great. And it's just a case of kind of filling in the old gaps and giving some people the more obscure ones. I mean, who knows? Maybe one day we'll get the original EDH Dragons, the original Bolas sitting in his armchair reading a book. But yeah, we'll see if we ever get to that point, hopefully. But for now, we'll just enjoy nice Theros commanders and so on. Let's see how we get on.
Huh. What is it, Otacon?
Hey, Snake, have you thought about getting some more subs and some views?
Yeah, we could do some new subs. How are they gonna do that?
Yeah, you can just do that below.
Go ahead and click like and subscribe below.
Alrighty then, playing against Tulane. Tulane. If they did an alternate art for this, maybe Thomas the Tank Engine? That's what I'm thinking. There's even a wispy smoke trail coming out of this guy. You know, that's all I'm saying. Mind Stone. Zenith Chronicler should be good as well. They're probably going to have quite a few multicolor spells. Well, that ain't one of them. 4 mana. I'm going to go for Basric Cat. This is a bit strange, but it means that it's tempting the Paradise Druid to attack in. And if they do that, it means they can't use it for a 4 mana spell. Now, this could backfire horrendously. Oh, well, there we go. There we go. Kind of paid off. Although they're going to get loads of mana now. Oh boy. Oh boy. We do have Contagion Engine, but that's a couple turns off. And all their stuff is kind of... Yeah. Ooh, okay. Defiler's good. Makes our white spells cost Phyrexian white.
I trust in your abilities.
White permanent spells, annoyingly. 4 or 5. But it does mean if we miss a land drop with this out, that we can spend life to cast the Elspeth in the following turn. Scoot Swarm. My god, all their stuff is too low for Elspeth. So... How the fudge can... Oh, well, okay, Contagion Engine, to be fair. To be fair, leaving up loads of mana. Winter Moon. Hopefully this resolves. They could just counter it, of course, which is a possibility. No. Make some dudes. This has got Vigilance as well. It's kind of epic. And also, in addition, the Basriket is now ultimate for next turn. So we've got a lot of stuff going on here. I just really hope we draw a natural land so we can play either of these. Otherwise, don't know. We're just going to have to try and do all this stuff. Chillane. Okay, so they don't have an answer in hand, which means we're going to try and find one with the Chillane. How are they going to deal with the Basriket ultimate? We'll find out. Okay, let's tick up first here. And then let's go for the ultimate. This is going to be... Unless they counter this ability somehow. Interesting.
We will be found worthy together.
Let's go for the life here. And this actually gets us our 6th mana source. So that's nice. I feel like they must have some kind of counter or something. And then I reckon we play the Winter Moon after combat, just to give them the least amount of info. So much power coming in here. If they use Settle the Wreckage, it's going to be pretty wild. Oh my goodness, they actually do. Wow. I actually called it as well. Kind of freaky. People don't really use that card that much. But yeah, this is really going to screw the lands up. They only get to untap one of these special ones. Oof. I love it. And they don't know what's coming up next. We can actually... Ah, they have an answer for the Winter Moon. But you know what? They're completely tapped out. So we can kind of do what we want. And also, we have a Basriket emblem. Oh, that settle was... I don't know if that settle was good or bad for them. Oh, they're so screwed. I think I'm actually going to discard this. To get back the Winter Moon. Oh, that's so freaking good. And then we go Contagion Engine. Oh, what a flourish ending. We're going to be able to proliferate twice and then use the ultimate. Unless they counterspell here. Which is entirely possible. Which would be a shame, because obviously this is going to be sick if it resolves. Eerie Interlude. Okay, so now they have no blockers. Well, they're screwed then, right? I feel like they're screwed. Look at this incredible ultra mega... Oh my goodness. Oh my... This is the most freaking crazy... Oh, that is brutal. I just want to see how much damage that would have been. 7 times what? 35 plus 9. Wow. 2 ults. I freaking love it. So this is quite the delightful hand. I think we'll keep this. Especially with the Urza's Silex. The Silex is just incredible versus green decks because it takes their lands down a peg or 3 or 4 or 5. And it's a Eula, Queen Among Bears. What's the difference in language between Queen Among Bears and Queen Amongst Bears? Is there a difference? Because if I was just to say that, I would feel like I would say Queen Amongst Bears. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Among is correct. Imagine the hit video game was Amongst Us. Among Us. Amongst Us. Pillar of Origin. Choose a creature type. Bear. Tap for bears. Fair enough. Swiftfoot Bears. So they're really preparing for lots of stuff, aren't they? I think we're just going to go for the Silex here, you know. And if they blow that up, then so be it. I feel like this is going to come in handy. If they go for like 2 or 3 creatures. See, now they might not want to do anything. And we could just psych them out. In which case, the decoy has worked. Do they want to just play something, give it the boots and smack us? Or not do anything at all and lose the lead? So cards like this are very interesting. I love psychological cards like this. And if you don't think it is, well, you're wrong. Because it's clearly it makes people do decisions they might not normally do. And that's what I love about Magic cards. When everyone net decks and uses only the best stuff, you just keep seeing the same thing over and over again. It's like watching the same episode of Friends on repeat, right? But when you throw some other weird things that people don't expect, suddenly people stop and think, oh, maybe I should do something different. And that's how you learn. They've gone for the Spirit of the Aldergard. Okay. So it's just a cool bears thing going on. Just bears. Bears here, bears there. Bears everywhere. And I think I will actually blow up 3, 4. Yeah. Because this Swiftfoot Boots is going to be pretty annoying, to be honest. Definitely. And yeah, we lose a Signet, which is unfortunate, but it did allow us to play it out a bit sooner. And blow the world up a little bit sooner. Metallic Mimic. So this is what I mean about tribal decks, is they're very soft to wipes. Once you do 2, 3, 4 wipes against decks like this, there's not much else for them to really do. Let's go for the Smothering Tithe. We can take a few more hits before we deploy any further action, I think. The Tithe will make them, again, think a bit more, because if they don't pay, then we get our 6th mana, which means Elspeth coming down. And if they do play, it means they have nothing better in their hand for more than 4 mana. Interesting. So they don't care about Elspeth because it doesn't kill their creatures, which is fair enough. But it does mean they have to carefully put counters on things or not on things. Migration Path. Interesting. They're ramping up to something big. If it's just an Ulamog, I'm not going to be happy. I'm just sick of seeing Ulamog as a win con, to be honest. Let's kill this. We might regret this. Because if they do have an Ulamog, that would have been an answer. Gonna draw a card. Which means we get another treasure. And I'm actually going to convert these into Mind Stone. Pardon me. So against green, I think Elspeth Sun's Champion is pretty good, especially for something like this that likes to scale up. You know, 2 counters on itself is already big enough for us to kill the Elspeth. The best way for them to play around it is to play as many things, 3 power or less, just on the verge of death. But then they'll have to deal with all the 1/1s that we're creating, so it's very difficult for them. Okay, so they're going to be able to exile one of our artifacts or enchantments. That's a shame. Especially when they only have one creature in the graveyard. And they're going to go for the Smothering Tithe. Yeah, fair enough. Permanents don't last very long. Okay. Now, do they have Trample? None of them have Trample. Which means we can safely create blockers. The other nice thing about these tokens is they actually dodge the -3. So one turn, you make the 1/1s. The next turn, you blow up everything. And your 1/1s stand there as the dust settles, as the final survivors. Pretty cool. Really great card here. Harmonized, draw 3. Now, if we had the Smothering Tithe, that would have been up to 3 more mana. So it's a shame we couldn't have really gotten around that. But yeah, the Masked Vandal is a really incredible common, to be honest. Because in any green tribal deck, exiles any problematic enchantment or artifact. This exiles gods as well. For 2 mana, feels pretty pushed. Blizzard Brawl. Okay. Interesting. I mean, if they're using a fight spell on a token, I feel like that's a win-win for us, right? So now they're going to go all in at us. Interesting. Indestructible. Okay. Let's flash her in. So seeing as that's indestructible, we'll try and exile it with the Wandering Emperor. And they're holding priority in it. Okay. Exile tap creature. And then what do we do next?
You are not much of
I'm happy to block, I think. Because we can create a new set of blockers the following turn. Reduce as much damage as possible. So now we need something else to really push forward. Because I've got 4 cards in hand. Return to nature. Damn. It's just loads of artifact enchantment removal, apparently. Claim Jumper. 789. That's nice, to be honest. Because we now get some lands. And they're going to quit. Because of Claim Jumper? Or was it because we kept making 3 creature turn? That's very difficult to tell. Especially when they have 3 cards in hand. That's a shame. Oh, I don't like inconclusive games like that. That's so annoying. I would have loved to just finish it up and seen it. I guess without Trample, they would have not been able to get through to our guys. So I'm guessing their hand didn't have any Trample or big things or Ulamog. So very strange. Had these 3 cards in a previous game. There you go. That's random for you. Self-mill, Olivia Reanimator build. Ooh, I like to see Thoughtseize in the bin. That's good. As long as we get the mana flowing, we should be fine. 3 very strong cards just going to the bin there. And lots of low to the ground stuff, which I'm really not bothered about because we have the engine. Let's go for flowering. We've got 4 mana for the Smothering Tithe, so just let's ride this. Let's ride this car to the end of the journey. Let's see where it takes us. Vault of Rebirth. Death puts counters on it, and then they can remove counters in order to resurrect stuff. But we have ramp. And it's just, just a casual 4-2 for 2 that ramps us. Why not? What? And they quit because of what? Because of what? Because of 1 card? Honestly, that's a strange quit. I wouldn't have quit there. Certainly not. I'm going to keep this hand because it's a bit weird and a bit risky. Why not? We get to go first, which is help. Because we've got the Winter Moon that cares about opponent's multicolor lands. And we have Zenith Chronicler, which cares about opponent's multicolor spells. Lovely job. Satyrs Cunning. So not only does Zenith Chronicler act as a blocker, But they give us a card. If they go for this, if they go for the Galia, the little blocker. But will they cast it? They shall. They did. They have. But will they attack? They will. That's weird. Why did they do that? Why did they do that? They didn't care about that commander being 4 mana, clearly. Let's go for Silex. I want to pull some aggro towards that. Might even blow it up depending on what they play. It's a funny little card. It's like putting a bomb on a table and going, hey guys, there's a bomb here. There's a bomb. I'm just going to ramp. No poops given. No poops. Now, the Annex is a way for them to recover from wipes. So, they might not even care. They're going to do it. They don't care. They've got big bollocks. We'll block that. Man, I've never seen such bravado. It's just they don't care. They just don't freaking care. Nice. Blow it all up. Blow it to smithereens. And yeah, I think we're going to flash in a blocker here. This is going to be really hard for them to deal with. Need 5 mana side anyway. Grum Gully. None humans enter with an additional. Oh yeah, I'm actually going to kill this. That's actually pretty annoyingly good. Just makes everything a bit bigger. Hall monitor. Hall pass. Bloody hell, they've all got haste as well. Sky apparition. Let's go. Elspeth. It's time. It's time to reveal yourselves, men. Come out of hiding. You're required for today's duty of blocking. And of course, with the Virtue of Loyalty, it's going to be even better. I'm wondering if we're going to be able to stabilize here. They've already, they're chipping us. They are chipping us, but do they have enough oomph? Relic Robber. That's an annoying card. Haste, haste, haste. Everything's goddamn haste. Interesting. Block that. And block that. So she'll take 3. Now, if they've got Embercleave, this is very, very, very bad. And suddenly... wow. They lightning bolted there. They could have lightning bolted Elspeth. That was a really bad lightning bolt, dude. Because now they ain't going to get past this. No way. How is red and green going to get past it? As I said, Embercleave, yes. Embercleave would be awful. Or a board wipe. Any of the 3 mana ones that deal 3 damage to each creature and walker. Or 4 damage to each creature and walker. But then they lose all their army as well. Can they get through our ever increasingly larger creatures? They're just going to ignore Elspeth, which is interesting. Okay, so let's go 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Embercleave. What? Again, they could have just killed the Elspeth. Man, that's some bad plays. Honestly, man. They've spent 2 cards that could have literally killed Elspeth twice over. I shouldn't win this game, but I am going to win it. Some strange stuff going on, man. I mean, I'm sorry to say your gamer tag is weirdly accurate. Okay. It just doesn't make sense. But, oh well. I've made many mistakes. It's just two of them is a bit bad. Because, yeah, the fact that by not killing the Elspeth, we're making 3 blockers every single turn. They cannot sustain that. Especially when we've got Virtual Loyalty out. It is impossible for them to win this game now. But there we go. Lesson learned. Is, or maybe even not, you know. Sometimes people just still make the same mistakes. Give that a lifelink. Go for the moon. Go for the bird. Ah, might as well swing. We still have 4 blockers after all of that. And I mean, this untaps him as well, which is so unnecessary. But there we go. And now they're worried about Elspeth. Let's see what kind of funny blocks they can do here. I mean, props for staying, I suppose. Honestly, props for staying, but the lightning bolt should have just come in at Elspeth so soon. It would have been a very different game, I think. There was a chance. The chance was sadly squandered twice. Fantastic. This feels almost unfair going up against Flubs, which is one of the new combo decks that's just come out. They don't want to have any cards in their hand, basically, because whenever they play a land or cast a spell, they draw a card if they have no cards in hand. Otherwise, discard. So, yeah, basically, play this when you've got 0 to no cards in hand, and then storm off, because you can play additional lands on top of what you normally do. I know what elves. So I don't really want to kill that. I definitely want to kill the flub, and I also want to ramp at the same time. So we can afford them to go turn 2 flubs and then maybe something else. But yeah, we now have 2 kill spells, so, and a farewell to pack everything up. Farewell is really, really awesome because it doesn't exile Elspeth. My goodness, they've got so much stuff out already. Let's fragment the Dryad because that is giving them a lot of advantage already. If you combine that with Flubs, it's dangerous, to be honest. They get Stone Cold Serpent. That makes sense because it's a 0-drop. And it just helps them storm off. Because they can play that for 0 and then just draw a card. You can play an additional lands on each of your turns. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card. Yeah, there's no way of actually... It's a tricky one. It's common to see this, really. A lot of people are using this now. But I feel like it's at least a challenge to use this. So I'll have a lot more respect for Flub players than something like Rusko. Because Rusko's just so easy. But nevertheless, it's still combo. And we have to be very careful. As long as we can get to 6 mana, I think I'll be happy. And I'm glad that Farewell can target, like, not target, but it chooses things that won't hurt us. Like our Cold Still Heart, which is pretty important to have so we can cast off a bit sooner. And yeah, they're playing correctly. They're not playing Flubs until they have, like, nothing in their hand, basically. Otherwise, they'd be discarding. Into the unknown. Explore. Okay. So their entire deck is essentially stuff that lets them play more lands or stuff that lets them play off the top. So I'm guessing Fibblethip's in there. The new Fibblethip. Tyler's Tracker. I'm actually going to get rid of that. That is going to give them way too much card draw. In the trenches. Fine. But we do desperately need a 6th land, or we can't do much. And especially now we've used our removal. And also, Elspeth is incredibly far away from being able to kill Flubs, considering Flubs is 0 power, and Elspeth kills anything with 4 or more power. Annoyingly, if we don't draw a 6th land, we may be stranded for a while. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, because this needs 6 to exile something. This needs 6, and this needs 6 to return something, but... The Druid class. And Containment Construct is annoying because now combined with Flubs, whenever they discard something, they can exile it and then play it. Okay, nice. I think we should be fine. I think we're just going to exile all creatures. Or do we just go for... No, we're going to bait and switch here. Go Elspeth first. Because I don't really want to lose the trenches, to be honest. And now if they kind of go off a little bit, we should be able to kind of get rid of... Well, now Farewell gets rid of all their creatures. It's feels a lot better. So whenever a land comes in, they create a copy of the creature it's enchanted with. That is disgusting. And I think Farewell may be the only way here to kind of get out of this. And the fact that the elves tap for mana as well, they've created their own POC. Now, the other interesting thing is that this says whenever you play a land or cast a spell. So fetch lands do not actually synergize with this. Because in order for a play trigger to be happening, it's got to be from your hand or from the top of your deck using your one play action. But yeah, fetch lands just ETB. That's interesting. I get the feeling they might quit after this Farewell. Because we're going to be so far ahead. Chomp to be expected. Now, the inner trenches will go away, but we have to get rid of the spring. So enchantments, graveyard, and creatures. Graveyard is important as well because there's ways for them to just replay stuff out of there. And yeah, we got an incredible exile hit there. I cannot complain. And the Sun Titan couldn't have returned the inner trenches anyway because it was exiled, so it's all good. And then now we get to replace everything with 3 dudes. Now they can just play Flubs again, but now we're going to start pressuring with the Basri Cat. Oh no. Oh no, another thing that we have to be careful of. That's really unfortunate. We basically just killed one. Oh, Invoke Justice. But we have 3 +1/+1s every turn, so... Or 3 creatures, should I say.
Society should be structured so everyone...
Okay, here comes the pressure. 2 walkers. Invoke Justice to bring one of them back. This is such a solid field. I mean, I'm still scared, though. Tormod's Crypt. Shouldn't they have played that after the Flubs? I don't know. Well, we have Elspeth Ultimate, so I don't know how they're going to get around this. Unless they combo off now, it could be possible. Exiling that as well. Mystic Sanctuary with nothing in the graveyard. They don't realise the pain they're about to face here. Chimmel as well. Okay, so... Counter. So Basri's going to get to ultimate state as soon as well. They have priority. I guess it's because of the Soul Guide Lantern. Now, the only issue here is our Invoke Justice doesn't actually work, does it? Because as soon as our Elspeth hits the graveyard, they're going to crack this. But then if they do crack that, it means that they don't get to draw a card. But no, I'm just going to ultimate. Move it to the command zone. Decline. You know, I'm going to force the hand to use the lantern because we want to be able to use the Invoke Justice. Or have we just won here? Yeah? Yeah, I think I was just looking too deep into that. I was just thinking maybe they had something in the hand that maybe, like, if they stifled that ability, then we wouldn't have had the ultimate. But yeah, I was just overthinking things. But they were playing to their outs and bluffing all the way to the end, so that was good. It was a good way to play. It made me very paranoid, obviously. But yeah, my issue with this is this revives something. This would have stopped us I mean, that as well. Why have they got two graveyard exiles? I guess because they're very, very cheap. 0 mana, 1 mana. But that was very unfortunate because essentially they turn off Invoke Justice and Sun Titan. So we had two very, very dead cards in our hand. But luckily we had the ultimate to push us through there. Whew, that was very lucky. I'm not sure how I would have really pushed through without that ultimate because there's Scoot Swarm playing initial lands each turn. That was really close to us losing. It might not have looked like it to someone who's not used to the game, but yeah, because if they played any lands thereafter, they would have created X Scoot Swarms, and I think if we had passed it with that one in there, we definitely would have lost. That's why they stayed in the game, obviously. Did you know that you can help my channel by watching another one of my videos? Go ahead, you know you want to.